Hello, welcome to Actual Play Burning Wheel, the Shoeless Peasant. I'm Sean Nittner. I play Bina Janos, the Shoeless Peasant. I'm excited to find out what adventures Bina goes on tonight. Judd, on his fantastic podcast, Daydreaming About Dragons, talked some episodes ago about a single player game where a player character is building a party, and the idea resonated with me, and I was like, I think what Bina needs is a party. Like she needs an entourage to help her to go with the Elveneth arcs. Something of what Father Alvaro said got through to her. So yeah, I'm real excited to find out if Bina can figure out what it is that she needs, and then make that happen to prepare for the entourage, the Elven arc. Also, I'm real happy that uh, Actual Play as a channel is focusing all our revenue on Black Lives Matter and the Trans Legal Defense Fund. So if you would like to support them, there's a link in chat, which I'll throw up in a moment. We would love it if you did. And any of the revenue that we're getting, basically until we say otherwise, indefinitely is going to be split between those two. So yeah, thanks everyone for your support, for helping us make the world just a little bit better. How about you, Joe?
I'll mute the mic right before I talk. I think that's what I'll do tonight.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
That'll be good. Uh, I'm doing all right. It's nice to see the channel supporting Black Lives Matter. That's really nice. Um, yeah, I am excited to see where Bina goes. I feel like in these one player, one GM games, we cover a lot of ground, and I just never quite know where we're going to end up, and or where Bina's head's going to be. And it's been cool. It's been cool seeing Karakage change and her adjust to that. And yeah, I'm curious to see what's next.
Yeah.
So
I was definitely gonna let. Oops, wrong side. I was definitely gonna let Yonder Tower just fall. Like I was, Bina was so she's like, I'm out.
yeah,
This stupid tower is not worth our lives. I don't know why we're defending it. And yeah, Bina's a more religious person than maybe I had really thought she was at first, and she's a more uh, and I don't know if brave is the right word, but willing to commit. And yeah, so that was a fun real turn for me as well. I was not. It was a real pivot in what her beliefs were. So
cool.
yeah, and it's hopeful too. I feel like she feels like there's other people that don't want this for her, uh, which is which means a lot, because when she's talked to the elves and the dwarves, it's felt really um, impossible to. It's felt like no one was willing to give an inch, and yeah, maybe they will. So
Cool. Cool.
should we go over beliefs and
Beliefs.
stuff? Yeah,
Yeah, when
let's
in
do
doubt,
that.
let's do it.
When in doubt, talk about beliefs.
I think I said uh, during one of our talks, I was like, when I rewatched our show from, our games from over a year ago, there were a lot of times where like we were quietly in amazing Twitch content creation.
Yeah.
We were we there were like whole minutes where we're literally like it's just pictures of us with our heads down, looking at our books, trying to find a rule.
Yep.
Which on one hand I think is realistic and happens in games and should
Yep.
be shown, but is not exactly the most thrilling content. So I said, when in doubt, just like one person looks up the rule, the other person goes over the beliefs just
Yeah.
to like read them out loud again. That would be a fine
I think that's a,
way to
that's a,
deal with that.
a very very smart way to deal with it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Bina's beliefs from last time was
yeah.
the time for bandages are over. My eye needs a decent covering. I'll find a scrap of leather from the tanner and make a suitable patch for it. Well, I did better than that. Judd was very kind in delivering Bina Janos not just any old scrap of leather, a fine cured eye patch with not embroidered in it. I forget the technology is, but stamped effectively, burned, I think, into it, the symbol of the burning wheel. So yeah, that one was completed. The next one was the Soldier's Lament is a tragedy, a song of tragedy, not of hope. I'll find a place for the people of Karakagi to flee to. That was an ongoing belief that I've changed and evolved, and I've taken it off of my current beliefs because I've shifted it, but it's still, I think, infusing Bina, and it's gone into her current beliefs. So those are the ones that were. Whoops, I'm clicking on the Zoom screen. I'm clicking on the OBS. That always works. Whenever you click on OBS, when you're trying to click on Roll20, it never fails. So my new ones are Varus is a beautiful voice that may sway the elves. I will bring her with me on the envoy. Duchess Botund convinced me to stay in Karakagi. I'll ensure our safety by speaking to the Elven Etharch. And it's interesting because those two beliefs, Judd, those you got me like in the middle of last session. I was like, okay, yep, I changed my mind. New beliefs. So folks who are watching, last session was a really cool mold breaker moment where Bina was just like, yeah, what you said makes a ton of sense to me. The two beliefs I just read got replaced by those two. And then the third one, which was I need to know the mind of the Elven Etharch if I'm to have any chance of winning her over. Which is, for a first time in my belief writing, is not X is true, therefore I'll accomplish Y. So I don't know, how to gauge whether I'll get persona on this, but it's a belief. We'll see if it gets refined over time or if it is accomplished or not.
Nice.
What do you think, Judd?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Cool.
It sounds good.
I think my instincts will stay the same. I probably should have some instinct about, when you see an elf, cover your eye, but
right.
Make the sign of the wheel. But not yet. We'll find out.
Fair enough.
Do you remember where we last left off?
I do not remember where we last left off, and even though we recorded it, I did not look it up.
I didn't either, unfortunately. I watched the very beginning, but I didn't get to the end.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, I think, it's early morning, and I think Bina is up earlier than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to be at the tower in like 20 minutes. And yeah, let's just kind of go through a normal morning. What do you do?
Yeah, so I think Bina is used to living kind of splitting her duties in terms of, in the morning it's sort of preparing food, making sure Nara has clean clothes. Actually, I doubt we change clothes very often, so it's probably preparing food, doing some sort of housekeeping that is like a scale of magnitude smaller than what's happens at the tower, right? So it's like little small things, which she then does on the sort of industrial level at work. But I think this morning, I know, we sort of want a day in the life of, but I think this morning we see Bina, she rose early this morning with some intent, and she gets to the door and she's about to leave, and then she remembers the boots by the door, and she pulls them on, her fine Doran boots, and she heads out. And I'm going to head out to Varus's, to the blacksmith home, and try and catch Varus before I have to get to work.
Right.
And I'm imagining, I don't know if the smith gets up early as well to start the forge.
I would think. I would think he does. Yeah. I think he's up with a son and daughter, and I think something that has come up in game is that the Smith's kids are all kind of big. So yeah, I think he's got like a son and daughter. He's got the twins with him, and they're pretty young. They haven't quite grown into their heads yet, so they just got these big noggins. Um, they're probably like 5 and 6 years old, and yeah, he's got them getting the, he's showing them how to get the forge ready to be lit.
Nice.
Uh,
I'm imagining these kids with like the big cauliflower ears, right?
yeah,
They're real adorable, especially in especially in
right,
kids. Um, Maybe not as much fun when your peers are pulling on them, but
right.
um, sorry to do this to you, but I did see your tweet saying preparing for the game, and the storybook of names was in there, so I know you've got it
Yeah,
handy.
yeah,
I need the Smith's name. I don't think he's been named before.
cool. We'll name him Goats. Goats.
Goats.
Gots with two little dots over the S, over the O.
Goats.
Gotz rather.
All right. Um, yeah, I say goats. I need to. I'm and I think she exchanges pleasantries. She tells him that she heard the countess, sorry, not the countess, the duchess said he did fine work repairing the shoes on their horses after traveling a long ways, and and uh, and asks if I think says, because I feel like we're on a communal level where this would be acceptable. Like, I'm going to go in to see Varys, and kind of lets him know, but I don't think she necessarily needs to get permission to do it. I think that's she's one. Varys is not that much younger than her. She's one woman going to see another.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think I greet him and then carry on inside.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that the Smith's got a lot of kids, and so Varys and a couple of the older siblings are in there wrestling large children. You realize that like Varys must take after the mother's side of the family because she's just not as huge, but she's still big. Um, and and yeah, she looks up and says, and kind of wipes some egg off her hand onto her on onto the front of her dress, onto a smock that she wears over her dress, and says, Miss Janos, how can I help you?
Last time each other, it was just before she was going to report to the countess, to the duchess. I don't know why I keep calling her countess. Well, she was just going to report to the duchess, and then what happened subsequently after that was she was effectively housebound to stay away from Pap. That's what I heard, but I haven't talked to her about it. That's what old
Yeah.
Novax told me. So I give her like I raise my eyebrows, like, I want to talk to you about the thing, and I say, help me with something, Varys. I've got to get this patch adjusted right. I'm not used to wearing it, and I need to look presentable. And I've been learning etiquette. I've been learning from Elsie that because Elsie's been teaching etiquette. I've been learning from Elsie that I need to be presentable for the Lord. So help me get this right. And I don't have a mirror, so I'm trusting her to help adjust it.
Cool. Yeah, she walks outside in like the kind of blue dawn light, and takes a look at it, and kind of fusses with your hair and gets it. And does she helps you move it and says, is this comfortable?
Pinches a bit, but I think I'll get used to it.
No, you don't want to pinch him.
Well, okay, then move it up a little bit. And as she's doing this, I say, how did it go when you spoke with the Duchess? I mean, this is all pretense, and I think she probably knows it's all pretense for me to be able to talk to her about this privately.
Yeah. She says she told me that how does she put it? She wanted to make clear my place in Karakage.
And what do you think of that? Are you content with her command, with her orders? Or do you think she's made a mistake? I guess I'm trying to judge whether her feeling about Pap was like a dalliance, like that was fun and she's over it, or
Right.
if she is like heartbroken about this.
I'm not used to being told what to do like that. I mean, there are expectations for me in the house, without a doubt, and in the tower when I've worked with you and old Novak there, but it's a different thing for a duchess to come and tell me what's what.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm digging my heels in because she told me or because there was something more there. I just don't know. I'm confused and I'm turned around.
Well, if you are inclined, I have a plan in mind that would bring you back to the tower. It would be very dangerous. Maybe not as dangerous as my last journey with Voss, but I learned something, and she's adjusting my patch. It's perfect timing because I'm like, I learned something last time I spoke to an elf and I failed to sing beautifully in front of him. And that is, don't ever do that. Don't ever fail to sing beautifully in front of an elf. And you have the most beautiful voice in all of Karakage. Everyone knows it. It's not even a compliment. It's just the truth.
So what do you want me to sing for the Duchess? I don't understand.
The Duchess has allowed me to go on the envoy to see the elves. An envoy I'm nearly certain Pap will be on as her nephew, great nephew. It's also an opportunity possibly for you to gain some esteem in her eyes. Although I'm speculating. I would like you to come with us. And when the elves ask it, I would like you to sing them the Soldier's Lament, if that is the case, if that is needed, in a way that I have tried. I've practiced for a month as I rode on the wagon, but I still, my voice still creaks.
Did you just make it clear that when you sang and it didn't and it and failed that you lost your eye? Like,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm just making sure that I'm getting that
I mean,
right.
I didn't say it like that, but yeah, no. I mean, Bina's trying to be on. Bina is especially among other people in her circles and amongst the other podcasts. Bina tries to be honest. Like she doesn't want to win Varus over with duplicity. So yeah, but yes, I am telling her, it's not quite as dangerous because you'll have a whole entourage around you, and if they tried to take out your eye, that might be very bad. But that is what happened to me last time when it was just me and an elf in a room.
Thank you, Bina. If my feelings for Paps were real, then I would be willing to do this in order to get closer to him. But it's clear to me that they're not. I have no desire to risk my life singing. as good as I might be. I'm the best in this village, but those are creatures who sing to the stars. I have no desire to go there and risk my life for some boy. There'll be other boys.
It, it without laying the full responsibility on your feet, because it's not any of ours individually, but collectively, the outcome of this, while I would be happy if it got you a chance to be around Pap, and I would be happy if it gave you a chance to impress the Duchess, the goal of this envoy is to keep your brothers and sisters, your father, and every single person you've ever known in your entire life from being decimated when the elves raise their stakes and advance and go to battle with the dwarves. So I'm going to ask you again, because I don't feel like
How is singing that song going to stop the elven advance?
I don't know, but I do know that there may be a point where before they will speak to us, they will want us to sing. Before they will listen to us, they'll want to hear our words in song. And if we stop in the middle of that meeting because none of us can muster a voice as beautiful as yours, then any chance of success after that will be lost. I don't think that you alone will win them over, but you may open the door.
Cool. I think we're gonna duel the wits.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do like a short one.
Okay.
Because they've
Is
got
that
those.
one is a short duel of wits where you don't roll the exponent, you just take your will?
Not a big deal. For some reason, two players are debating a minor point and desire quick resolution. Use only the will exponent as the body of argument. Yep.
Okay, cool. I think I'm still going to invoke stubborn in this because it applies.
Cool.
Stubborn allows me to add 2 to my body of argument when it directly contravenes a belief. And I have a belief that is, Bars is a beautiful voice that may sway the elves. I'll bring her with me on the envoy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much pointing to right at it right now.
Yeah.
So my body of argument, or my intent, is that she will agree to come with. What is her intent? What does she want me to agree to?
Huh. Like, should it be orthogonal? Should it be like not just I don't want to go?
It's probably better if it's I don't want to go, because that way we can give each other concessions.
Cool.
If it's just like I want to go left and you want to go right, there's not a lot of room for concessions.
Yeah.
I could also just make a persuasion test if you feel like she doesn't have like counter stakes.
No, I mean, I think she's just trying to talk you out of even bringing it up to the Duchess, you know?
Oh, that's true.
Like,
I
she's
completely countermine her and just say like,
yeah,
you're coming anyway. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she just wants that. She just wants her name off this table.
All right. Okay. My disposition is 6. My will +2.
Cool. Yeah, her is 4.
Okay.
What is she, like 16? Hers is 3. Hers is 3.
Okay. Should we script in roll 20 chat?
Yeah, sounds good.
Enter at the same time and make sure I've got it up so everyone can see it. Okay. And I've completely lost track of chat. Has anybody in chat been saying stuff?
Nope.
Hi, chat.
It's been pretty quiet.
Okay. Let's see. Oh wow, she's a different kind of person to duel with than the people that I'm used to. Hold on 1 second. Duel of Wits can be found in the
page 397.
397. All right.
kind of like right in the middle. And yeah, this is just hitting you right in the. Varya has a beautiful voice that makes way the elves. I'll bring her with me on the envoy. Yep.
Yeah. It feels right. Um, okay. Okay. I think I've got it. 1 second. Let me type it in.
Cool.
All right. I am ready.
Cool. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice. So we both scripted the exact same thing. Point, rebuttal, point.
Yeah. Rebuttals have no effect on each other, so it's just going to be point point.
Yeah.
I think rebuttals are yes. A rebuttal doesn't do anything. So
So I think you're the skilled person. So do you let her make the first point, or do you?
No, I think I'll hear her out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think her first point is like, I'm not going to risk my life for what you think a song is going to do.
Yeah. And yeah, and mine is the Duchess came with 50 a retinue of 50 guards. We're going under the flag of peace. Your life will not be imperiled here.
Cool.
Yeah. You'll be safe even if you anger the elves.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna butter that up a tiny bit. I'm gonna call back to something I said earlier, which was that you have the most beautiful voice in town. That's just known.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, like, besides, the reason why I'm coming to you is because I know you won't fail. And cool. I'm gonna use persuasion and fork in soothing platitudes because
that works.
That's what I'm.
Cool.
Doing.
She rolls 3 dice. But it's only going to count for half, so 0.
Oh wow! Okay.
Or no, 2. I rolled it twice for some reason. I'm going to roll again just because I don't know which of those to go with.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, 0. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Why am I not? There we go. Okay. Persuasion. Come on. This damn therapist. Okay. 1 fork. And no Arla and base ops 1. Okay. Well, I got 1.
Okay. And I think that the rebuttal is just you guys like talking over each other for like a couple of seconds, like 10, 20 seconds of you just like talking over each other and not hearing what the other is saying. And it's not getting heated, but it's definitely getting intense.
Yeah.
And then you both make points again.
Yeah. I think I shift this time. I sort of take the lead, and and when we come out of it, and I say, a little frustrated, and I kind of like shake away, like, it's fine, because she's been adjusting this thing, and I say, you want more from your life than to be a blacksmith's daughter. I know this, and I've talked to the Duchess, and she sees the value in people when they prove that they have it. You can be more than this, and you can have more value in her eyes. And if you do nothing, again, we may all just perish regardless. This is a chance to make a difference as opposed to surrendering to it.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah. I think her reply, her point is, Bina, I'm very happy being a blacksmith's daughter. You're the one who's unhappy with her place in Karakage, not me.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you forking in? I'm sorry.
I'm forking in both gossip wise because I said, I've talked to her, I know who she is, and I'm also forking in peasant wise, saying
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we want more than this life, which
Yeah.
she's saying she doesn't, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, so
Make your roll.
persuasion, 2 dice modifier, Norda, myself. She's done, but yeah. So I'm gonna mark a routine persuasion test, which I did not need, but I'll mark it anyway because I like clicking dots. Let's see what she got. Oh dang.
Oh wow.
She got
So she
one.
forked. She spent her persona, and she has a 6, so she's gonna open it.
Dang.
And it explodes.
Keep rolling that. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2 successes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not quite half my BOA.
Yeah.
Because my BOA was 6, but it's still enough for a minor concession at least. If I forget how many degrees of concessions there are: minor, full, major, substantive, etc. I will look again at the book. All right, so this is page 398. A minor compromise if your body of argument is reduced by a few points, but less than half. A major compromise if your body of argument is reduced to half or thereabouts. And a major compromise if you lose all but a few. So, you could either say this was minor because it's not quite half, or a full compromise because it's close to half, but feels like it's in the significant.
Yeah. How much was your body of argument? 6?
6, yeah. So.
And I got 2.
You got 2.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna say a little bigger than a minor compromise.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you owe someone a solid compromise. You must grant a significant concession regarding your own goal, or agree to an additional related condition.
I think she says, I'll go if you can't find anyone else. But you have to look around and see who else could be found. There's got to be somebody else who can sing, who could risk their life for this. I'm not going to go chasing Pabs into death.
Okay. Well, I need to bring others. You're not the only person I was intending to bring. I need to bring wise counsel and she thinks on it because Bina is thinking about bringing Nara because she's an elf friend,
right?
And hearing Varus say like, I don't want to do it and I'm afraid to do it and I don't want to risk my life on this really is kind of, it's it's making her rethink that. But she says, thank you, Varus. I'll do what I can, and I'll see if there's anyone else who can go. And she's like thankful, but also a little disappointed in her.
Yeah.
In Varus and herself, and not exactly sure which, but
yeah, absolutely.
And then I think she, oh, look at the time, it's almost 6 a.m. or
right. It's almost 5:30. Yeah,
it's almost sunrise. Yeah. And then she runs off to the tower.
Cool. Yeah, and I think like it's the first thing old Novak says is like, is what'd you do? Sleep in?
I had errands to run.
She kind of like gives a feh at that. Errands, she says.
Old Novak, I think I'm like, I'm starting on fires and I'm getting things ready and we're doing these chores next to each other. And I say, Old Novak, I'm going to bring the most talented, smartest, most capable people from Karakage with me on this envoy, and we're going to show the elves not only that we're worthy of their attention, but that destroying us would be a huge a huge sorrow, a huge tragedy.
No. The elves aren't strangers to huge, to epic tragedies, you know.
But they can't go seeking them out. There's enough that's tragic in this world without racing towards it. What do I know?
There was a man here, bearded fellow, came in, brewed himself some tea, and said he was going to be out by the old tower if you got here. I've got things in hand if you want to go meet him. Rasmus?
Rasmus, I do. Thank you. And I think Bina's very used to like multitasking, so she like sets down like 3 different things. You know, she had something in her apron, and she grabs a bit of food from the kitchen, and says, "I'll be back soon. I've got my etiquette class with Elsie." And
Right.
yeah, thank you. And she runs over to the tower, the old tower,
Cool.
to the fallen tower.
Yeah. And I think Rasmus is there, and it's like on a bit of a hill, even above the other tower, but within the walls, and or maybe like an equal to the other tower. So you kind of have to go down and then back up. They wouldn't build a tower where something could be above it. That wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, right. It's down and then back up, and then he's like watching like the elven camps, and I think there's like a thunderstorm out that way, and like you can see lightning just like striking down into the camp. Like if that was a human camp, you'd be like, oh shit, people are getting hit by lightning. But it's an elven camp, so who knows what the F is going on out there.
Right. Maybe they're calling.
And he's just like sipping his tea, and he smiles when he sees you, and he says, Bina Janos. Last time I saw you, I'm afraid you took a bit of a fright. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, Wizard Rasmus, I did. I saw you with a man who terrified me. I've heard that you came here against your better judgment. I appreciate that. But I have so many questions. Can I ask for your sage wisdom?
Of course.
What in the name of the wheel were you doing talking with Fiona Cecile?
Fiona Cecile is the younger brother to the Etharch, Anaklima Barrett. And
did he just say the Etharch's name?
Yeah.
Can I have that again?
Yeah, Anaklina Barrett. I'll write it in the Roll20 too.
Yeah, thank you. Because that's a name I've been looking for a while.
And I believe if you grab a copy of the Elvish to English dictionary, or there are some good Kenya to English dictionaries online. There's a good PDF if you do Kenya to English. Anaklima Barrett, I believe, means sword queen, technically.
Cool.
Not that Bina Janos knows that, but he says he was there to make sure that the Iron Dukes would be keeping their walls closed to all comers for the war, in case things should spill over in that direction.
I assume that applies to refugees as well. Venus kind of still reminiscing on her thoughts about fleeing east.
Yeah. Uh, he just meant dwarves.
And did Lady Svenger agree to those terms?
She did. She did.
Well, last time I spoke with you, I was in a moment of desperation. I felt that the opportunity to save, to prevent this war had slipped through my grasp, and that only some act of incredible desperation could possibly accomplish it. And I asked you to do impossible, to fly me on an eagle to the vault, to rescue the consort. And you were very kind to not laugh in my face. But having had some time to reflect on it, I don't think this one, and I kind of look down at my dwarven boots and I say, previously housebound peasant is going to end this war. But I'm also not convinced that it has to happen. Do you know from your discussion with Fiona and Cecile, or from your knowledge of the elves, anything of this Ethark? If she is a entity, because Bina's not sure. The elves seem so alien to her. She doesn't know if it's right to call her a person. She is, but I think Bina is unsure. Do you know if she can be convinced? Do you know if there's anything she wants that could sate her desire for blood? I'm not sure Bean is asking the right questions right now, but
Yeah,
she's just
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to like figure out like how to even talk to her, how to even get her to entertain the idea of not going to war. And she's not really sure where to even start.
Right.
So it's one of these like, can you help me figure out what I don't know? Like, I don't know what I don't know, and maybe you can point me to figure out what I need to learn, rather than like, give me the silver bullet that will make her, that will win her over. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And I think I will preface it by saying, from talking to the dwarves, I learned something of their motivations. Prince Bulat doesn't want to be made a fool of in his own company. His warden Boj is not going to gain glory in his lifetime. He's not going to have any other opportunity for great glory in his lifetime than this war. His people feel insulted by the elves and want to. They feel demeaned by them, and they want to stick it to. They want to send a message that they are not inferior. He's insecure. He has pressures to as the Lord, and those he holds closest to him in council will gain personally from this. All of these things, I feel like if I had more time with him and I wasn't summarily dismissed, maybe we could discuss and maybe he could come to terms with. But I don't know any of this from the Elven Ethic. I know that she lost her consort, and that with him the star, that the dwarves have claimed it's a gift, and won't return it.
When a
Did
new
not.
wizard, when a new wizard is found in these lands, uh, it is traditional to go before the Elven Ethark and present yourself. Anaklima took an interest in me until she realized that I would not be an archmage ever. Once my fortunes in that had been read, which is a bitter thing for a young wizard to find, even a lord wizard or a wizard duke like myself. She lost a lot of interest in me. So I looked into why, and that is because when the Elven Ethark holds the burning wheel, it is a sign of the end of an age, and the elves will all go west and leave this land to the rest of us. There's other parts of the prophecy. But anyway, that's something that she is definitely interested in.
Is there a reason why you being an archmage or not being an archmage would affect that timeline? If there are no archmages, does it fall upon the elves to take hold?
No, but only an archmage can pick it up and move it. Elves aren't generally able to. So she would need an archwizard, an archmage to traverse the mountain, take hold of it, and have it brought to her.
Is this something she seeks? Does she want this end of this age to end?
She has seen the elves diminish in the centuries that she has been Ethark. Her mother commanded more swords than there are stars in the sky. And Ethark Anaklima Buriath commands 99.
Well, going to war certainly isn't a good way to preserve the ones you love. And she's like basically like saying that to herself. It's not like she's not trying to refute him. It's just like, well, that's bad logic. You know,
it's a good point. It's a good point.
So,
and if you were in a situation where you could sit with her calmly and have tea like two friends, you might be able to convince her with those kind of words. But that's never how you're going to ever meet her. You're going to meet her in court, surrounded by her people and her seat of power.
Seems like everybody's more reasonable when you talk to them one-on-one. And I think at that point, like I open up my apron and I pull out some bread and I share it with him. And in an act of like unusual familiarity with this man I don't know, this is just like a thing I do with a friend of mine, which is weird, but like it's just like it feels like a thing that connects us. Is I just like take his cup and I drink.
Yeah.
You know, I give him some bread, but then I just like drink some of his tea and like.
Yeah.
You know,
he says, does he know that your daughter is an elf friend? I think he does, right?
I mean that's he's seen the wheel that Bina carries, and I told him about the story, and he I think was the one who suspected that she was marked as an elf friend, so that by one elf to prevent Fiona Cecile from killing her. And yeah, but that's exactly where Bina's mind is as well. And she's like, how does one know if they will be an archmage? I mean, you obviously when you met her didn't know. You weren't at the height of your knowledge and of your wisdom. So how did she divine that of you? And how yeah.
Every generation has one, and they are always prophesied.
Okay.
And you can kind of start to narrow things down.
Where were you born? Were you born in Karakage by chance?
I was not.
I've been told by the Duchess that Karakage uh, uh, holds more importance to us than its political, than its geographic location, but that it is where uh, our last several archmages, at least of history, were born.
Many were born here, yes.
And I've also been told that the year after an eclipse is the time when a prophetic a time that's important within a prophecy. And I have a daughter who was both of those things and who dreams of the elves. And by that, I don't mean dreams of them in the way of doesn't have fantasies of them. She sees predictions of what they will do.
I would like to meet your daughter.
What would you do if you met my daughter and you thought that she was the next archmage? Because there's a part of Bina that's like, oh my goodness, my daughter might be the key to this. But there's also a part of Bina that's a mom and is like, I don't want to put my daughter in danger.
Yeah. Yeah. He said, I would offer to teach her.
What's it like?
What is what like? Being a wizard?
Yeah. What's the life of a wizard like?
If Bina, in many ways, without any of the power and any of the skills and any of the tools that wizards have, you've been living quite the wizard's life for the past month. It is knowing that you have terrible power to leverage in getting what you want, and knowing that it's very dangerous. You can make things much, much worse.
That feels like a terrible burden. Sounds like a terrible burden. Why do archmages go and bring the wheel down from the mountain? It's not a part of the religion I've learned. I mean, I've heard of it clearly, but like I don't know what purpose it serves.
Some say the wheel calls to them. Some say it's just power. Having never been in that position, I can't tell you. I think, I would imagine that It's very difficult to turn down that type of power.
I think for whatever reason, Bina has Nara's wheel right now, and she carries it with her sometimes.
Yeah.
And she sort of pulls it out, and she's sort of like halfway out of her like rucksack, and she says, "Nara loved this wheel. It was her favorite toy." And when the elves, I wish I knew the name of the elf who inscribed it. I really owe them an incredible debt, gratitude. But when whichever elf inscribed this, it became that much more precious to her. And still, when it was time for me to leave, she gave it to me because she thought I might need it. I don't know. I don't know if a 5-year-old can show the kind of restraint and thoughtfulness and compassion needed to know that they would make a great archmage. Because she's also screamed fits for not getting treats and dragged poop on the floor, as my husband told me last night.
Well, I mean, she's 5 years old. That is perfectly normal. I don't think when wizards are children, they are clear-eyed, and I'd be more worried if she was a perfect gentlewoman at 5.
True. I guess I have no way of knowing, even if she is who I think she might be, even if you trained her, who knows the future? And I don't think I can make that choice for her, one way or the other. And frankly, I don't think I can even entertain that choice without first talking to Deke. I promised him that I would not take her away from him, and in many ways, this would do that. I need to speak with him, but thank you very much for sharing what you have. I will admit I felt betrayed when I saw you with Fiona Cecile.
I know how it looked. I wish it was within my power to seek justice for what he did. It is not.
I don't need justice. I don't need anything from him. This is who I am now. I have a cool patch, and I don't get bothered when flies are flying on my left. I have work to do, and I need to talk to my husband. But perhaps we could share dinner tonight.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
And I think like it's just like as she's leaving, she like another like lightning bolt strikes, and she's like, "What?" You know, she like realizes that like she completely forgot to even ask him about like what the hell's going on with this lightning. Right? Like it's just like, oh shit, that's even another thing.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
knows, yeah. Right? It's too late. You know, another time. Yeah, and I think I will return to my etiquette lessons. Dina has a busy day, man. Her days have gotten full.
No doubt. Yeah, I think when you get there, the Duchess and her retinue are breaking fast, and so much cooler than having breakfast, and just way cooler. Yeah. And I think they've hauled and tuned a harp into the hall, and Elsie is playing and like humming.
I think is it clear that she's like performing, or is this more
Yeah,
idle?
it's kind of like, yeah, this is definitely like their way of like, putting on a song during breakfast, without a doubt.
Oh, nice.
And I think like when you get there, Elsie like finishes up, and a younger member of the retinue comes and like sits at the harp and starts playing. And I think like there was clearly like a joke about how Elsie's little sister, who has now taken over, is not as good. and and so like as she like starts like strumming the harp, like there's a there's like a mistouch, and like the Duchess rolls her eyes, and like a bunch of people start laughing, and like or trying not to laugh, and it's just
Stifling a laugh. Yeah.
yeah. And Elsie says, "Come on, let's leave my sister to her torture."
And it's not like uh Bina has like the trait tone deaf or anything like that,
Right.
but just like her like just like her interaction with singing going so poorly, I feel like she's like, what? I mean, like, I don't think she hears it. I don't think she has a
Right.
refined enough ear to hear it. So she's just like, I don't know. It sounds like she's playing the harp. Sounds as good
Yeah,
as
yeah.
like she. I don't think she can appreciably notice. So like they're all giggling at something that's just like beyond her. Like she doesn't know it. Um,
Awesome.
and yeah, so I think she you know goes and starts talking about the way you wear your clothes and how you bow and all of the details. But she definitely like wants to like in the middle of practice talk to Elsie about her plans.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I think like she does a she goes through a kind of drill where like you are welcoming nobles into the tower, and the the lord and the lady of the tower are detained, so you have to like stall, and so like you have to talk to them, and like in in that drill you could ask her about things, you know what I mean?
nice. I love it. This is like the please hold.
Yeah.
But like a personal attendant, keeping something. So I think I start off light because it's a germane question, but I say you play beautifully. Do you sing as well?
Yes, it was one of the things we had to learn.
That's good to hear. Um, is there one of among the Duchess's handmaidens whose voice is applauded above others?
She kind of smirks and she says, the Duchess often complains of not having anyone who has those talents in excess to travel with her.
She should have listened to Vara sing before she exiled her. Um, I, uh, I think I kind of go along with the drill a little bit more, and she knows that I'm coming on the entourage, right? I think
Yes.
we yeah. I say, do you know how big the entourage will be? How many people will be coming?
My aunt wanted to figure that out. She's not sure.
How, your aunt made it very clear to me that the method that I used to request my attendance, and I kind of blush because it definitely was not a request, on the entourage was not to be employed again. Um, I will not corner her in her room and berate her until she lets another time. I feel like I've done that as many times as I can do and keep my head. Um, which
I
was the
don't think
once.
she would ever take your head.
I'm speaking. Yeah, I don't think Bina knows the word hyperbolically, but
Right.
I'm exaggerating. Um, but nevertheless, there are people that I think would bring incredible value to the envoy. Is, would you vouch for me if I suggested them?
Yes. I mean, I think you know the people here. I think she has a pretty good idea of who she wants to bring, but absolutely.
Thank you. Well, I know that I am a member of the envoy, but I have in mind a small envoy myself to bring, and I hope I don't overstay my welcome in in the number of folks that I wish to bring. But I feel that we need every advantage we can muster.
Hmm.
And if this is the one chance to talk to the elves, then I don't want to waste it. Shouldn't you be telling me how to talk to elves, not nobles? I mean, if that's what we're about to do, I think
Yeah, yeah. She says that was very good. Like she like explains to you like uh I think she like talks as if like let's pretend that was an actual conversation where you were where you were trying to stall. And she says one thing you might not want to do is talk about important things that are going on in the tower. Like you want to start cultivating the ability to talk about things that to ask about things that are not quite so high stakes. Um, so that the lord, because the lord and the lady of the tower of Karakage might have their own agendas, and if you give away too much, it could jeopardize things for them politically. Which is like a long-winded way of being like, keep your damn peasant mouth shut when you're talking to nobles and you're
yeah,
waiting for the lord and lady to arrive.
yeah. Don't blow up for them.
Yeah.
And I think I think I get it, but I'm like, so how do nobles? How does gossip fit into that? Because like gossip is totally her bailiwick. So I'm just like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
is there forms of gossip? Like obviously you can't gossip about the lord and lady, but like is there forms of gossip that are appropriate? And she's trying to sort of figure out which of her existing skills she can parlay
Yeah, 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 totally.
into
She says
this.
gossip, like I think she like uh speaks quietly so that it doesn't just echo across the room.
Yeah.
And she's like some smith's daughter was all under Pap's garters while he had um control of Karakage.
I mean, I don't know where you would have heard that, but what would truly be a tragedy is if it turned out that this is a mere dalliance, and when put to the test, uh, of a chance to to be in his presence again, that daughter demurred because of a silly thing like being terrified of seeing the elves, when her and her beautiful voice alone might win them over.
Hmm. No, what would really be tragic is if she was with child and and a noble bastard were to be born and would have to be sent, could not be brought up here, but would have to be sent east uh, to be raised in another house, probably as as a knight.
I'm sure that would be a horrible burden for the Duchess, which would be just awful to encumber her with, given all the important duties she has.
It's a lot to organize. Is she going to have to organize that?
Does Vina know?
Uh, Bina would totally know. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you rolled last time, and I think you determined last time with the Die of Fate that she was not.
She was not. Yeah. I
Yes.
did. I did. I totally diafated it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think Bina knows, and this is like it's feeling a little like this is good because it's feeling a little tit for tat. Like I'm asking you to like vouch for me, and she's playing the like yeah I'll vouch for you, but also can you give me some of this information?
Right.
Which is
Totally.
that's how gossip works, right? You share, right? You give and take alike. You know, it's not one sided. Um, and so I say, well, thank the stars that are hidden from our sight. That work will, I'm sure, will not be needed.
Good. Very good. And she seems like a little relieved. And she says, why don't we go wait on the Duchess after breaking fast? I hear she's going to be holding court with her knights and her guard, and she might make some decisions about the entourage, the envoy.
More time. Yes. Let's. She's gotten so comfortable with Elsie that like she's about to say let's prepare the hall,
Right.
but then Elsie's not a servant, so she has to do this code switching of
Yeah.
like we're kind of peers because I'm going on this envoy, but we're not really peers. And
Yeah. Totally.
so, you know, she first says let's, and then she's like corrects herself and says, I'll prepare the hall. And you know, grab some of Varus's siblings who have come, who have been conscripted to work. I'm sure they've shown up by now, and you know, clears the tables and does all the things, does all the work needed for preparing for this. And I think Bodnar had people show up every once in a while, other minor nobles, and so she's sort of used to. There is a protocol within the tower of like what does a noble holding court isn't quite the right word, but like speaking officially, what does it look like? I imagine it's the way we arrange the tables so that the Duchess will have like her own table where she can face everybody. And um, I'm imagining, because it's just the last thing in my head, you know, the family, you know, the members of the Stark family facing all of the Karstarks and the other families, the other clans in the area, and yeah, nothing super fancy. There's no thrones here. There's no. It's just one big hall room, but we could do a lot with just a big open room. You know, we can move things around. So yeah, so I call on all of them and we start preparing it for them. And I think I may have a particular agenda here, and I don't know if this is going to be a test or not, but I want to make sure that I have the ability to speak with the Duchess at some point, either before or during the event, so that if she's like, okay, here's the envoy, we've decided, I don't need to be like, you know, I don't need to speak out of turn in front of everybody else. I want to make sure that that either Elsie will speak to her now while I'm preparing things so she knows, so she can call on me, or that I can speak to her as I'm preparing her, you know, the room for her, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, and I think like she holds court, you know. Her knights come and tell her about the uh the guard tours that Paps has set up, and why they got hit by why they got hit by the elves that one time, and how they missed a marker in the rain, uh, and that they've taken efforts to make sure that doesn't happen again, and they've cleared away all the brush away from all the markers so that they're very clear and you can see them, and there are several knights and squires riding with each group, um, going around and making sure that that things that the perimeter are safe, and that uh, if either and she says, like, how long would we last if there was an attack, and he says it wouldn't be long. uh, the the elves, we're counting 99 banners. That means all of their sword singer, or let's say 97 banners, which means almost all of their sword singers are accounted for. uh, the dwarven uh, the dwarven host is mighty, and I just don't think the good news is that they have no reason to attack us right now, but there will be problems. And she says, how can we keep the most people safe? Should we run? And he said, the problem with running is that by this time there are vultures, let's call them, who gather outside of war zones like this. People who want to scavenge, look for elf and dwarf treasure, pillage bodies. It won't take much for them to turn to banditry. And there might be orc. And I think, like, when he says that, like, people start muttering. He says, I think running is dangerous.
When she asked, should we run? Because Bina feels very personally, like, affected by that question, because that is exactly what she has said
Right.
many times to people. Like,
right.
When this first happened, she said, let's all run. Then when she came back, she said, let's all run. So to hear the Duchess say, should we run? Bina is like, stops whatever she was doing and like is just watching her, because she's trying to gauge, like, did she just say that to be a thought exercise of like, well, we're going to explore every option, but I wasn't really thinking that? Or did she actually turn tail on what she had said before? Is she actually like seeking to run? Because if she's just sort of playing through the motions, that's one thing. But if she's like, can we run? And that's really her intent, that really changes Bina's understanding of the one of her.
Right.
What's my read on that?
You get the feeling that she's just like figuring out their options. Like, she doesn't want to run. She's not planning to, but if things go really wrong, she wants to know what the next steps are.
Right.
I mean, this is also the person who said, go to your rooms, to her retinue, to like her nephews and nieces and children and grandchildren, and said, go to your room, get your stuff together, and then, walk from your room to the stables in case you have to do it in the middle of the night to run out of here.
Yeah.
She's also told people, like, you've got to carry your swords around because we're in a war zone. Like, there is a pragmatic side, but she doesn't want to run. Yeah.
Right.
She says, Bina, you're going to go with the you know as much about these elves as anyone, except for Rasmus, who's around here somewhere, I heard, but we'll deal with him later. Who do you think should go on the envoy?
And Bina's a little surprised, honestly, that she's being called out like this, because she thought it would be more like having to squeeze it in. She said, well, the wizard Rasmus has met the Etharch has met Athark on a Klima Bareth before. They were not close necessarily, but she's aware of him, and I think if he is willing to come with us, which I suspect that he would, having him there would be wise. It would give us some a familiar face for her. I think we would.
Do you think you could convince him to go with you?
I believe so. I believe so. He's coming to dine with me tonight after my duties are performed, and he will meet my husband and my daughter. And it is not as though a meal under our house is a fair offering to ask someone on such a journey, but I think it's a good start.
And I think like one of the younger kids says, Your Grace, can I ask a question? She says, you know that you can always ask questions during court. What is the what's the question, Vigret?
And Bina is just like bracing for her to say, what the hell is this dumbass peasant doing talking in our court?
And she says,
like she's just like clenching her knob, like
yeah. And like you see Elsie like brace herself for the same thing. And she says, why are you asking the tower servant about the envoy? She says, well, that's a very good question, Vigret. Do you know that Vigret is a version of my name? So you are not only going to hold my last name, Botund, but you're going to have my part of my first name, Vigret. She says, yes, Auntie, I know that. I mean, Your Grace. She says, yes. So you need to listen to this answer very carefully. Just because people come from a common background doesn't mean they are common. Bina Janos, in trying to stop this war from destroying her home, left. She ventured north, farther north than any of you have been, with your swords and the privilege you were born into and the power you were born to. Without any of that. She went so far north that she could see the burning wheel from the road. And when she failed, she came back, which in some ways is even more astonishing. Most people, when they fail, they run and hide. They don't want to admit. And despite her failure, and despite having grievous wounds from her interactions with the elves, she came to me and demanded to go to see them again. So, Vigret, why do you think I asked Bina Janos? She said, because she knows about the elves and she's not common, even though she has a common birth. And what do you think I think you should do next? I should apologize to Bina Janos.
Like really struggle. She was not expecting that, so she.
And then what should you do? I should leave the hall. Yes. Go to the kitchen. Old Novak will find a chore for you. Tell her I said to. Yes, Your Grace. And she like gets up and like walks over to you and says, like looking at your feet, says, I'm sorry, Bina Janos, I did not mean to insult you. And then like before you say anything in return, like turns and like stomps into the kitchen.
Right. Yeah, I think Bina would have tried to say something to sort of ameliorate the situation, but
Ms. Janos, who do you think else should go on the envoy? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Father Ovaro, when he arrived with you, gave me very wise counsel. He suggested that no one individually would accomplish this goal, I think that counsel, the punishment for such wise counsel, should be that he has to continue giving it. I don't know if I assume he's somewhere in here.
Yeah, he he laughs. He like coughs and laughs.
Um, so I would love to have his company. And then there are a few who you may be surprised by, but I promise I have good reason. Um, if you have one who can sing with such exquisite grace, um, then then I would rescind this request. But otherwise, um, the blacksmith's daughter is uh, is also a woman who is not common. It is also a person who is not common. She is exceptional, and as is her beautiful voice. Um, it is and like she's dancing on a needle's knife's edge right now, where she doesn't want to like say too much, but she's like it is enchanting. And uh, if you would permit it, I believe that the blacksmith's daughter Varys, if she came with us and if she sang for the elves, um, it would put us on a better footing. Um, my understanding of dwarves is that you arrive bringing gifts, and my understanding of elves is that you don't have a song, you sing it. And our story is that of the soldier's lament, and of the last time of the sorrow of the last time the Dwarves came to war at Karakagi, and how we lost the tower, and the needlessness of that violence. So I would like to bring her as well.
Elsie, what do you think of that? The elves are very fond of singing, Grace. Mm-hmm. Is that the extent of your suggestions, Ms. Janos?
Uh, I was hoping to learn more before I made this request, and I don't want to speak without full knowledge, but I would like to also bring my family, my daughter and my husband.
Do you think to arouse pity in the elves?
No.
That's
No.
good, because I do not know if they have such a thing.
I don't envision.
Why do you think your husband and your daughter, your infant daughter, right? She toddles.
She toddles. She knows
All
a
right.
few letters. She gets around.
Why do you wish to bring your young daughter and your husband?
Well, I told my husband Deke that I would never take my daughter away from him, and I want to honor that. Also, I believe he was the man who lost part of his ear on for going over the marker, and I believe he would want to protect me in the company of elves. We've both lost. We've both been named by the elves. And this is all kind of like leading up to her daughter, and she says, and my daughter has been marked as an elf friend. They've inscribed the words on her toy, and those words kept me safe in many, many encounters. And I think that the Ethark would be, again, made more willing to hear our plight if she came with us.
Suppose as soon as I sent you by law, I kind of have to send your husband. Don't like that kind of patriarchal law, but it is what it is. And your daughter is an elf friend. Best to remind them of that. All right. So you believe it should be you, your husband, your daughter, my priest, and the blacksmith's daughter.
And the wizard Rasmus.
Good. Yes, someone else. The wizard Rasmus. We should also have the Lord and Lady of Karakage.
And I don't think I 100% know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Because it would be Bodnar. Do I know the? I don't think I do. I don't think I think I look curious because I don't know how those courtly kind of decisions are made. Like I could make some assumptions. Well, is it her because she was his ward? Is it Pat because he was the etc. Right. Like she just doesn't. She just.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people look confused at that point.
Right.
And she says, "Paps, stand forward." She says, "Kneel, Paps." And she like looks at her younger brother, who is a knight, and says, "Do it." And he says, like he takes out his sword and taps it on each shoulder and like names the three wheels: the wheel of fire, the wheel of air, the wheel of earth. Protect the innocent, all that shit. And I think like she says like the wheel of air, he says like the wheel of air, the wheel of earth, the wheel of fire. And then he starts going on about the protecting the innocent. She's like, get on with it. We don't have all night. And he says, rise, Sir Paps, Sir, his name wouldn't be Paps, right? What would the full name be?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like Pap was like a shortening. It wasn't Papas because there was Dudas. There was Pap and Dudas.
Yeah.
But like, I do feel like
Papernus. Let's just say it's Papernus.
Papernus. I love it. Love it. And that's always been his name. Just no one ever calls him that, right?
Yeah. Sir Papernus, Botond, Lord of Karakage. And he like barely like he starts to get up and like almost falls over because like this is just a lot.
Yeah.
And he didn't see it coming. And she says, did you see this coming, Sir Papernus? And he says, I thought I might be knighted. I thought your brother. No, I'm not leaving my brother here. What your grace, what would you have me do? Oh, Sir Papernus, I'm so glad you asked. You are to marry Elsie. We will have a feast tonight.
That way, wow, she moves fast.
Yeah. With that way, the Lord and the Lady of Karakage will go with the entourage, the envoy, to meet with the Etharch, who I just learned is named Anaklima Barith. Did anyone else know that? Rasmus like raised his hand. Put your hand down, Rasmus. Smart Alec Iron Dukes. Very well. I think court is over for tonight.
As soon as she
for
says
today,
this,
yeah.
I look at Elsie. What's Elsie's like? This is all like life comes at you fast. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
he's a
yeah.
knight. Oh, he's a lord. Oh, he's getting married. Oh, it's
Yeah.
tonight. Oh, it's to Elsie. What the shit?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I mean, Bina likes Pap. She thinks Pap is a good guy,
Yeah.
and feels like that's great. She's very happy for him to be lord of this place. But to marry Elsie, like, she doesn't know his feelings about Varus, um, and she knows from personal experience that being married to one person having feelings for another can be very complex. And also, he
Right,
just met Elsie,
right.
um, and vice versa. Presumably, she just met him.
Yeah,
But I think she's already, even though she grew up with Pap, she's already somewhat closer to Elsie than she is to him, simply because
totally.
they bonded. Yeah. So what's her face look like when she says, "Yeah, you'll marry Elsie"?
I think for the first time you see her like be a noblewoman. Like she is just like poker faced.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
uh, I think she like does not look at Papernus, who's her cousin, and like her sisters and her other cousins kind of like spirit her away, um, to like make whatever preparations they have to make.
yeah. I Yeah, I think I kind of like try to keep an eye on her until she's left to see if she gives me like this like help look at
Yeah,
some point. And if I don't see it, I will go about my you know the rest of I'll leave her be. But I definitely am looking to see if she gives the sign of like,
right.
not that Bina has any ability to get her out of this, but nevertheless, she might want someone to talk to. Um, So yeah, does she flash anything, or does she stay like noble composure the whole time?
Uh, she's pretty noble composure. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For now,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Should we take a break?
yeah. That sounds great. So yeah, dinner with a wizard, and then a wedding feast.
Yeah,
Sounds like a regular night for being a Janos.
sounds good.
All right. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. All right, everybody in chat, we'll see you back in just a couple of minutes.